Let's jump in to the inside scoop. Todd is going to break down this game on the offensive side and defensive side, my favorite segment of the week. So, Todd, take us in to the inside scoop from Saturday's game.
I always wonder, is it without further ado or
yes.
to do?
I'm going to go to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
You made your own saying.
Tomato. I don't know. All right, so this is Jaleel's first run. This is how the game started. It was the first run of the day, and I just thought it was simple. It was easy. The guys were up front. They were moving the big bodies of the Bengals, and I wish they had given the ball to Jaleel more. So you get motion. Mims start over here and slide. He motions. He's going to run slash, run a split slash, actually. And you're going to get the ball to Jaleel, and they do a great job. The center does a great job of turning back on the linebacker. Started here. He's kind of blitzy. It feels like he just read the play really well, but they do a great job of getting a body on a body. Quinn absolutely throws 92 across to the other hash, and Jaleel does a great job of reading this block and running behind the backside guard here, and he squirts forward for 12 yards. And I thought that he did a great job running the ball all day, and I felt like they should have gave him more opportunities. I mean, 6.7 average is great, but when you only do that for 6 carries, it doesn't really amount to the game that you want to have. So,
And that was just the second half. And in the whole game, 10 carries, 69 yards. So you're right.
So,
What if he runs the ball 20 times? 140 yards.
What if? So hopefully they give him more opportunities because he definitely deserves it.
I thought with the running game, they gave Audric a bunch of those zone runs, and they didn't work. I think the reason they were working for Jaleel was just that he gets to that hole so fast before it dries up. Like, he's always hitting the hole like kind of as it's opening, whereas Audric hits him as it's closing. Audric on those power runs, the like gap scheme type runs, those were working well. But it just seems like they aren't always using the running backs to their strengths, which is a little bit surprising to me.
Yeah, for Jaleel, for me, I feel like he has the best vision.
Yeah.
So he's able to kind of stop and start his feet a little bit better than Audric, as well as see how blocks are developing. Because right now, the way that this play is working out, you don't know where the hole is going to end up. I think Audric is better at downhill, A-gap, hit it, and get us 5 or 4 yards, whereas Jaleel can set up a block here for his O-lineman. He can read the block and come backside. He has more vision to be able to make the plays he needs to. Plus, he has that stop and start ability.
Yeah, exactly. It's that burst, too.
Yeah.
Where it's like, even if Audric and Jaleel see it at the same time, Jaleel's just going to get there a step quicker. And you see, like, so many of those the holes just kind of closing. So I think if you just give the counters and the powers and all that stuff to Audric, it works. But just keep those zone runs going with Jaleel, because whenever they cross over, that's when everything starts to fall apart a bit.
What I don't understand is Sean says this is a hot hand approach and this is week by week. If you want to do that, that's fine, but make it a true hot hand approach. Yeah. Jaleel, you weren't able to stop Jaleel, and yet Audric Estime still gets 9 carries when Jaleel only gets 10. If it's a hot hand approach, give Jaleel 20 carries this game, and then if Audric's feeling the next game, go with the 20 carries for Audric next week. But it just doesn't feel like they're actually living up to what they want to do. And by the way, this is the first game in Javonte Williams' career that he's played and did not get a carry. So they clearly identified maybe he's not the hot hand, but he's definitely the cold hand. He's not getting the ball.
Yeah, and I don't know a game this year where Jaleel was not the hot hand out of the when he played.
Yeah.
So I think it's clear to see who I feel like should get the most carries. This was, for me, a turnover. They don't count as turnovers, but when you get the ball and you'll make the team turnover on downs, that counts as a turnover for me. That's just like getting a fumble or an interception right here at the 22-yard line. This was a great job. We're in man-to-man, so everybody is on a body. They put Jamar Chase in the backfield, and they have Pat on him one-on-one. They choose to do the dive with the fake pitch here. I'm happy they didn't pitch it because that's a lot of space to try and get to when you talk about a guy running to the edge. But Nick Bonito does a great job of doing his job, coming down the line. Him and Cody Barton, who was man on the running back, do a great job. It's a 4th down stop, one of the 2 turnover on downs that we had during the day, and I thought the defense was a bend but don't break, and they found a way to get some, good stops, and this was one of them.
Yeah, all the credit in the world to Nick here for getting in the backfield on a very short play. Incredible play.
Yeah, great play by him. Like I said, I'm glad they didn't pitch it out here because I think with blockers, that's a really tough play to get to.
I hate this play call from the Bengals, so I'm happy that they did it because you take the ball out of Joe Burrow's hands and you don't give it to Jamar Chase. Like, what are you doing there? Or at least in this game, T. Higgins, I really hated it.
You can't pass on 4th and 1, though.
Right?
Right?
Joe Burrow, of course you can.
I don't think so.
What?
I don't
Joe
think
Burrow?
so. If anything, like they could have used the sneak instead. If they called a different play, it could have been that.
I think Joe Burrow's athletic enough to get you a yard running the ball too.
Yeah.
So I think if it's not there on your first read, just take off and get us one. So, but I'm glad they didn't do that.
Yeah, totally.
All right. So this was a play that, Bo ends up taking maybe a 2-yard gain. This is 3rd and 8 early in the game. And this is like a really pivotal 3rd and 8 for us. Haven't moved the ball really well. And I think there's still so much that these young receivers as well as Bo Nix can do to get better. So what you're going to have is a nickel blitz right here, and you're going to have zone in the back end. And what I'm interested to see and when it starts happening is when these wide receivers start pointing out these blitzers. So you need to point him out right now and tell Bo that the blitz is coming. I know the ball is being hiked, but there's about 2 seconds before the ball comes that he has time to identify this. And what I don't like about this play is he's wide open.
Yep.
And instead of, I hate to say it, but it's very easy to understand and realize what you see Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes do. Just sit down. Don't even. I know you had another route. I know you're running an over right here. Don't run into coverage.
Right.
There is nobody right here. Just sit down and turn, and I'll get you the football. And Bo, when you do get pressure, step up. This is a clean pocket. You don't have to evade around and make it hard on yourself. Vele needs to come and sit down right there. I think that's Vele, maybe Troy Franklin. There's no reason to run into pressure. You are wide open. These are the plays that we need to hit to be successful. And I feel like at some point we'll get there, but this is the stuff that on 3rd and 8 needs to happen. Because this Bengals team is not good defensively. And I feel like there was multiple times within this game where if the person just stopped their route, they have hot routes. They have hot, when somebody is blitzing, they have a hot option. And I feel like these are the plays we need to make instead of making it harder on ourselves. I think this becomes a 2-yard gain. And there's no reason to be right here. Stop your route, catch the ball, get the 8 yards we need, and then let's keep the drive going.
We call that the Russell Wilson, when instead of stepping up in the pocket, you go to the right there and miss the open guy in the middle of the field. But you're right, and that is something that just I think is going to take time for this young wide receiver core with a young quarterback.
Yeah. I 100% agree.
I thought Bo was a little bit panicked in the beginning of the game. There was this play in particular where obviously it's a textbook perfect clean pocket and you bail out the back. But I think a lot of there were a bunch of throws early on where he just came off his first read so quickly and just dumped it down to a running back.
Yeah.
You're like, you gotta stand in the pocket. You gotta see if the guy's gonna come open. You gotta try to make a play here. I think coming into this game, there was just, I'm not sure what to call it, a little bit panicked, a little bit rushed.
Happy feet, a little jittery.
Jittery, yeah. And that play is the best example.
Yeah. Well, all right, here's another turnover that the Broncos had. We're locked up. Everybody's man to man. We're actually playing Pat's on Jamar. Cody's on the running back. Shanad is in the middle of the field playing hole, so he's going to help on any crossers, maybe take a wide receiver. He's running shallow and he's hard to get to. But the Broncos do a great job of rushing coverage here. Everybody's covered up, a body on a body. Shanad's kind of spying the quarterback in case he leaks out. You got Jonathan Cooper rushing. He gets to the level of the quarterback, and what he does so well is he retraces his steps to get vertical, and he ends up getting a sack right here. But this is just rush and coverage working together. Everybody's covered. And, I mean, this is exactly what it would have been if the Broncos tried to go for 2. Well, you got 4th and 2.
Not necessarily.
4th and 2 on the 2-yard line. And I'm just saying it's not as easy as you think. Because, I mean, they would draw up their best play right here, or a play that they felt like they could, score a touchdown on. They don't want to give the ball back, and it gets bottled up by the Broncos defense, and it leads to a turnover on downs, and the Broncos get the ball.
Yeah, huge stops in the front. I mean, again, this game could have been over at halftime. It could have been 21-3, 28-3. I mean, the Bengals, they weren't getting stopped until it mattered the most. And credit to the Broncos for coming up with those stops.
Yeah. The red zone defense was really interesting. I think, honestly, most of what they did on defense was kind of interesting because they're dropping guys out. Like, you're seeing Zach Allen in cover, G.J. Jones. Nick Bonito had that pass breakup. Like, they were getting really creative, and it didn't really work for them until they got to the red zone. But that's where, like, how many defensive coordinators, when they get deep in the red zone, say, okay, Brandon Jones, P.J. Locke, my starting safeties, come off the field. We're putting Devin Key and J.L. Skinner in there. J.L., you're taking your man coverage on this tight end split out wide. He hasn't played defense all year. Like, that's not a thing that they've asked him to do even once. So I think that maybe the game plan was a little bit complex, and it didn't really work out until they got into the red zone and all those little twists. That's kind of what you expect from a bend but don't break defense, I guess.
It's just not a lot of room to operate in the red zone, and I felt like we didn't blitz as much. What I felt like I saw throughout the entirety of the game is just like Bo was missing where blitzes were coming from and then attacking that zone. Joe Burrow was doing a great job of finding where blitzes were coming from, hitting the quick outs, and let's keep the ball moving, keep the chains moving. It could be a 9-play drive. It could be a 17-play drive. I'm just going to find the open guy. And I feel like that's what was hurting us in the middle of the field is they were finding where we were blitzing from and just attacking those zones.
And then even when Joe was wrong, like they'd send a blitz off this side. Like there was one play at first drive where Jonah Ellis then drops back. And you're just like, it looks like cover 3 before the snap. It basically still is, but now it's Ellis over here. And Burrow throws it to that side, but he just places the ball so perfectly into such a tight window and gets it there so quickly that it just doesn't matter.
All right, this was a play that I felt like really hurt the Broncos. It was going into halftime. We were marching down the field. We get to about the 45-yard line, 1st and 10. Then we have a sack for 6 yards. And then this was the play right after, which is another sack. And so it's a pretty clean pocket. They kind of run like a dice route where you have, kind of looks like a dice. But Bo, he escapes the pocket, and he's trying to make something happen. He's trying to point and direct traffic. And I feel like at this point, the play's over. Just get rid of the ball. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, he holds on to it. And then we have back-to-back sacks. Then it's like 3rd and almost 30. I think these are the kind of plays where Bo can keep getting better at just getting rid of football. This play doesn't work, that's okay. It doesn't have to be like a miracle. You don't have to be Superman, just throw the ball away, and we'll find another way to get a first down. But this put us in a bad position after marching down the field and being in pretty good field position. You never know if it's true or not, but that little red line was up talking about field goal range. We're only 5 yards away from where that was, so I felt like it was a good opportunity for the Broncos to get points there, and we walked away with nothing.
Yeah, that was a really tough sequence for Bo, those 2 plays right there.
Yeah.
It's not something I'm concerned about long-term at all, even short-term, because he entered the game 22 sacks on the season. It's like half of what every other rookie has taken. Mm-hmm. Those just happen to be bad back-to-back sacks, so bad decision there, but not worried long-term.
Yeah, not at all. Right here we get the great pass to Courtland Sutton. We're getting a 0 blitz, so they're bringing the house, and then everybody's matched up one-on-one. And when you get Courtland Sutton one-on-one, it's only right that you give him an opportunity. Bo does a great job of recognizing man coverage. Courtland does a great job of creating separation. And I like the way this ball was thrown because it gives Courtland the ability to see the ball, find the ball, and make a play on the ball. And put it to where only Courtland can get it. So this was a great play, finding Courtland in the back of the end zone. Crucial for the Denver Broncos. And I think anytime you get Courtland Sutton one-on-one, you got to try. You got to throw that fade route no matter what.
Especially in the end zone. He's so good at coming up with those. And I also like the way that Sean designed the play. The Broncos have run the screen to that second wide receiver many times in the red zone. Mm-hmm. The Bengals are ready for it, and you can see that guy crash down, and it gives that easy one-on-one for Courtland.
Yep, 100%. They did a great job here. Oh, this is the great pass to Marvin Mims. So they had great protection here. Bo has a good pocket, a little bit of a waggle. So it's a not a full rollout. He's going to set up right here. But Marvin does like a corner post, so he gives a little stem out and then is able to split the safeties and be able to get into the end zone. I also like this play because there's an over route coming from the front side tight end, which gives a little bit of time to hold this safety so he can't sit deep on this route. And Marvin does a great job of just splitting the safeties and beating them with speed. You can see this over route right here. So if the safety was to take this high, then Bo Nix would throw this deep over into a territory that's not covered. So great play design right here from Sean. Great throw from Bo Nix. Marvin Mims seems like the only person that can, connect with him on his deep routes. But we just need more of it because Marvin is playing at a really high level right now.
Yeah, targeted 8 times, 8 catches for Marvin, including a couple of deep, improbable throws. And I just got to give, Bo threw a moon ball. It was a great pass, but the degree of difficulty for Marvin here to catch this ball at the very back of the end zone, focus on catching a ball that's dropping out of the sky, and then to get both feet in is just incredibly difficult. He made it seem routine.
Yeah, Marvin Mims, he's special right now, and he's definitely showing it. Oh, this was a sack from sorry, there's a lot of plays, so sometimes I forget. This is a sack by Zach Allen, but you got to understand why this sack happened. So we got my guy Malcolm Roach, and they're running like a TNT stunt, which is the tackle and nose gonna do a little crossover. The reason why this play works so well is because Malcolm Roach is doing a great job of getting penetration. He's getting upfield. So he actually takes the center and the guard because he's doing such a great job getting upfield. And what that allows for Zach to do is to play into his front side guard, and then once he wraps, this front side guard will be the one that comes off on him and is blocking him if he's able to get off. But Malcolm Roach gets so much penetration that once he wraps, there's nobody left to block him because there's 2-on-1 on Malcolm Roach. So although Zach Allen gets all the credit for getting a sack, you got to be able to recognize sometimes when the guys in front of you, beside you, are the ones that are helping you to make big plays. Because he comes around, he gets a sack, which is hard to do. Joe Burrow, he's athletic, but this is a great play, great team effort of getting this sack right here.
Crazy stat from this game. Joe Burrow is the first quarterback in NFL history to have a game where he throws for 400 or more yards, 75% completion on his passes, and get sacked 7 or more times. What does that tell you about, I guess, the way this game unfolded? Because that's incredible for Joe, really bad for the defense, and then really good for the defense all at the same time.
There's just all the quick stuff. They played so conservatively. This was also, he averaged 2.23 seconds to throw, which was the shortest of his career. So he got the ball out quicker in this game than he has in any game ever. And Joe Burrow's a guy who gets the ball out quick.
But he was also throwing deep with 400 yards, though. It wasn't just all short.
Definitely, but there's some of those guys who, you make plays after the catch and start running. So much of it was just, if something is right there, right off the jump, he hits it. And if not, then they have it all covered up. As Sean said this morning, it wasn't busted coverages that were the problem. It was just that anytime they wanted, they could just pick up 5 yards in the first second of a play because it's right there. And for the most part, it was just outside the numbers too. How many times did one of those tight ends just run one of those quick out routes? And if you get that ball right there on time, there's one play where Riley's in that flat out there, just takes the receiver on the boundary a little bit too high, and so he's not able to just jump on that route, makes the tackle right away. If Joe holds onto that ball for another instant, nothing's going to be open on that play. And then he's got to stand there and take the sack. But it was just so many of those quick, because that defense was just so conservative. It took a while for those receivers to get to him. I didn't love it.
Nope. Can't love it. Here's the last play I have for you guys. This was Bo Nix in overtime. This is when we thought they were trying to run the clock. We're not really sure, but once again, Bo has a pretty clean pocket, and he kind of just gets antsy and starts, trying to evade. But really, you got 2-on-1, 1-on-1, 1-on-1. There's really nowhere to go right here. This is another opportunity for him to sit in the pocket and to deliver a good ball to the tight end coming across the middle. But he starts to run up here and then, without his feet set, tries to throw across his body, and this ends up being an incomplete pass. And I think he has position to be able to get the first down. The ball is complete to him. It's 3rd and 9. Really important play. This is the last time the Broncos touched the football. But unfortunately, the ball is a little bit off. But I think, once again, it's about him leaving the pocket too early or trying to leave the pocket too early and also setting his feet. So just a lot of ways that he can get better as a quarterback. But, it gives you hope that he can still have pretty good games, multiple touchdowns,